What's up, e-bike owners or potential e-bike owners? I want to make a quick video for you today and dodge the rain a little bit to tell you why I bought my Rad Rover over top of some of the other competition that's out there, why I chose this one. Alright, well, before we get started, you can see my Rad Rover has quite a few extra accessories on it. And if you want to know what all these are and where to get them and what they cost and everything, I did a whole accessories video and I went over this bike front to back. I'll put the link in the description, check that out for all that information. Alright everyone, well, let me tell you why I decided to buy a Rad power bike and then actually later on bought another Rad power bike. Now, I don't exactly remember how I first found out about e-bikes, but once I started researching into it and looking at them, I decided I really wanted to get one. I really wanted to try it out. So, of course, there's a lot of options out there. This bike is a 2018, so I bought it 2 years ago. But they still had Rad power bikes and juiced bikes and Super 73 and various others, electric. And I was really kind of checking around, looking at all the different options. And I'll give you the main reasons. I probably have 5 or 6 as to why I bought the Rad Rover. Was my choice over all those others. Now, let me first say too that I'm not a professional e-bike reviewer or anything like that. I'm just some guy on YouTube that posts videos about my e-bike. So these are all just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. So one of the first determining factors why I bought this was cost. It was not the cheapest, but not the most expensive. It looked like it was going to be, a pretty decent quality for the price that you paid. I paid $14.99 to have this thing arrive at my front door. That was the total I paid, was $14.99. And arrived at my door like a week later. It was a good purchase. I'm happy with it. It is, I think, of decent quality. So that's the second thing I'll say was, based off of what you can see online, it looked like it was going to be a quality bike, and it turns out it is. I haven't had any real issues with this bike. I've popped a tire once and that's about it. So, of course, I don't put a ton of miles on my bike like I know some of you guys have put thousands and thousands on this bike. I've put maybe 600, 700 miles on this thing total in the 2 years I've owned it. So I don't really put a ton of mileage on this thing, and I'm not really, wearing out the components like some of you guys probably are. So the cost was a big factor for me. The quality, I wanted to find something that looked like it was going to hold up. This did. One of the other things was style, actually, because you can get the ones that kind of look like a moped, or you can get the folding e-bikes that have the smaller tires. And I picked this because I wasn't sure that the folding ones, the mini versions, were going to be big enough for me. I'm 6'1", kind of lanky, so I wanted it to fit me. So I chose to get the full size mountain bike style. So that kind of decreased your options as well. Got rid of, I don't know if Super 73 really makes one like that. They do those like 70s retro style looking ones, which they look cool, and I was really considering that, but ultimately I wanted to go with the mountain bike version. So cost, quality, style. Another thing I took into consideration was, before I bought an e-bike, I checked the regulations for my city and town to see what was legally allowed, because I wanted to be able to ride this thing everywhere. I didn't want to not be allowed to take it on the greenways or sidewalks or whatever. I want it to be just like a regular bike. And where I live, that meant it had to have a 750 watt motor or less. And it couldn't go faster than 20 miles an hour on level ground using the throttle only. So the Rad Rover fit that criteria. So the regulations was a key factor for me as well when I bought this. Another thing I took into consideration, which you guys are probably gonna think I'm crazy, but I really wanted a twist throttle instead of a thumb throttle. I just like that better. The thumb throttles, I've never used one, but they look flimsier, like you could just break it off. And then also, I'm also a motorcyclist, so I'm used to twisting for throttle. So I like that feature. I wanted the twist throttle. Another thing I took into account was aftermarket parts. Clearly, if you look at my bike, I don't like to leave things stock. So Rad Rover, their website had some aftermarket part options where you could buy racks and, bags and extra batteries and different cargo things. And there was just some things on there. I was like, okay, well, there's going to be a little bit of aftermarket support type stuff here where I can buy some goodies and trinkets to put on the bike. So I factored that in. And then probably, I'm gonna say this is probably the absolute #1 reason why that I bought the Rad Rover was availability. This was 2 years ago, so a lot of those bikes like electric and Super 73, like they were pre-order only, and they were on Kickstarter or whatever it was, and you couldn't get them. They weren't available. I was, after researching it, I wanted one so bad. You know, I wanted it now. And Rad was one of the few companies where you could order it and they would ship it and you could have it in like a week. All the other ones you had to pre-order and then wait. I think I bought this in maybe late spring or early summer and got it immediately. I think I got it in like June, maybe. I looked at some of the other options and it was gonna be until Christmas I would have to wait to get one. So that's probably the #1 reason I bought the Rad Rover, was it was available and in stock and I could get it immediately. Now here we are 2 years later, there's a lot more electric bike options on the market. And you know, why did I go back to Rad power bikes when I wanted to get one for my fiance? So I'll tell you the reasons why I went back a second time and bought a Rad power bike. So the first thing is the quality. You know, it's held up well for me. I can't complain about the quality. So I knew what I was getting by buying a Rad power bike. So that was one thing I definitely factored in. I was gonna take a chance and buy like electric XP or something like that to try to compare, or maybe an Ecotric, one of those other brands that was cheaper, because I was going to compare it to Rad. But in the end, I didn't know what the quality was and what it was like. I've had a Rad experience, so I know what that's like. So I was like, let me just get a matching one for the fiance. So when I decided I was going to get her one, I was leaning towards Rad, but I actually asked her to do her own research and to go out and look at them and tell me, if I were to get her one, which one she would want. And she picked the Rad Mini step-through. And when I asked her why, you know, why not Ecotric or one of these other ones, like why did she want the Rad Mini step-through, her reasoning was that you know, she agreed that the quality was probably going to be good. She is short, she's like 5'3", so she wanted you know, something that was easy to get off and on, and obviously the Rad Mini fits that bill. And the other thing was styling. She liked the look of it, and I agree, it's a sharp looking bike. She got the white one. A lot of the other bikes out there are black or blue, or a lot of black ones actually, but she wanted the white, which looked pretty slick. And she wanted, you know, I think electric makes a white one as well, but it's a mini, but it's not a step through. She wanted the step through. She just really wanted the ease of getting off and on the thing. So that narrowed it down pretty narrow, and she chose the Rad Mini. So that's what we ultimately ended up getting, and we're both happy with it. I was surprised with how nice that bike looks, honestly. I wasn't sure about the white myself, but once it arrived, it does look pretty sharp. And once again, another factor that came into play when I was looking to get her a bike, which I surprised her with it. I did a whole video on that, check it out. But anyway, another factor that came in again was the availability. The Rad Mini step-through was available now. Like, you could buy it, get it shipped, immediately have it in your hands. I know a lot of the other brands right now are sold out. Even Rad's sold out of a lot of their stuff, and you gotta wait. It's all back ordered. So I don't know why the huge jump in purchasing of these bikes lately. Maybe they're finally catching on. Maybe it's that people are, you know, still on lockdown and they're looking for something to do. More people are online shopping. I don't know, but they're not available as much anymore. But the Rad Mini step-through was. So I ordered that on, I think, a Thursday, and it arrived the next Tuesday. So, I mean, it was less than a week that I got, you know, over the weekend too. So it came fast. I don't know if it's still available, but that was another factor for sure. I wanted it now. You know, I'm spoiled. I don't want to wait. When I decide I want something, I want it. So it was available again. Well, there you go, guys. That's the reasons that I bought the Rad power bikes. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another Rad. Although at this point, I wouldn't hesitate to buy any of the other brands as well. If I saw, you know, a juiced bike or a Super 73 or electric or something that caught my eye, I would definitely pull the trigger on one of those just to test it out. So if I knew 2 years ago what I know now about Rad Rover and about the electric bikes on the market, would I have purchased this one? Well, if we're talking 2 years ago, yes, because it was available and I could get it. But if everything was available, would I have bought this bike? Maybe. You know, I got accustomed to the power of it at 750, and you know, I've since kind of upgraded it with a new controller to make it more powerful. But it's been a great bike. I can't see anything bad about the quality of it. It's held up for me. I've seen other videos where people had some problems with it, and I know a guy personally had a few problems with his, but he said that Rad Sport did take care of him. But yeah, I would probably get Rad again, I guess. I mean, it's a good looking bike. It's a sharp looking bike. I like the look of it. It's a monster for sure. This thing's quite a bulldozer. It's like, I think mine's 80 pounds now. You guys give me a lot of flack in the comments for me complaining about the weight, but hey man, I'm just trying to put it out there to people that don't realize, you know, not everyone knows that these bikes weigh a ton, you know, so I wish it was lighter, but you know, I'm not unhappy with it. I'm strong enough to lift it in the back of my truck, so we're fine. It would be nice though if it was 50 pounds instead of 70 to start with, but whatever. Well, there you go. There's the reasons that I bought a Rad Power bike twice. You know, I had this one for 2 years and went back and bought another one. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one of these. I'm actually trying to get my dad to purchase this same bike. He loves it every time he rides it. But I would guess that when I purchase my third, I'm sure I'll get another e-bike at some point. They're a lot of fun. But I wouldn't hesitate to buy another Rad, but I don't think my next one will be a Rad Rover or a Rad Power bike. I want to try some of the other brands and see what they're like. And I think I want something maybe with more power. I did upgrade this with the controller, so it's about 1200 watts now. Again, just check through my video library. I did all kinds of videos on that. And it has worked well so far. I think it's like 130 miles on the bike since I put that on. No issues. But, you know, I'll say this too. I don't beat this bike up. I ride this like a little old lady most of the time. You know, I'll twist the throttle and fly down a road at 25 miles an hour. But, you know, I'm not climbing hills using only the throttle. I won't do that. I pedal up every hill. I don't want to fry this motor. So, you know, I baby it, I'll tell you. I'm trying not to kill this bike. I love this bike. I want to keep riding it. So I'm trying not to kill it with this new controller. If I do burn up that motor, I'll just replace the motor with a true 750. I've heard that's not a 750. It's just a 500 watt motor in there. Well, if you enjoyed, you know, consider hitting that subscribe button. I try to get a couple videos out a week. A lot of them are on the Rad Rover, although I do some motorcycle videos as well. I've got another video I'm going to do here coming up probably in the next couple of days, which I think you all are going to find very interesting. So hit the bell so you're notified when that comes out. But I've been waiting and waiting to do this with the Rad bike. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it should be out hopefully in the next few days or so. We're going to do a test that I think a lot of people will want to see. I've seen some online, people have done it before, but I want to experience for myself and do it for myself and put that content out there for you guys to see another perspective on it. That's pretty much the main reason I do videos, is I like to get my, you know, my user perspective out there just so people can see it and they can use it when they make decisions on what they want to buy. You know, you can give it as much weight as you want. All right, well, that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me jump on this bike and give you a taste of what the acceleration's like with the new controller. Pretty nice. All right, well, I gotta head home now. I'm tired of dodging the raindrops. I'm trying to keep this thing dry. I do not ride this bike in the rain. I don't want to risk ruining it. So when I come out on days like this where it's still getting wet, the tires are still splashing up water, and you know, I know it's getting a little damp, I'll take it home and I usually dry it off with a towel. And depending on how wet it is, sometimes I'll hit it with my leaf blower to really dry it thoroughly. I don't want to get any water inside anything. So let's go home and do that. And well, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Leave me a question if you got it, or a comment. I'll try to get to as many of those as I can. I get a lot, so it's kind of hard to keep up, but I try to answer as many as I can. Also, you know, share this video with your friends if they're looking at getting an e-bike, and leave me a like. That way YouTube will share this video with other people. And thanks again for watching.